Thanks for staying with Facing the Nation, and of course, welcome back. This is the second half of our program. I did promise you that we'll be focusing on the University of Guyana. That is nothing strange for Facing the Nation. However, today it's specifically to do with SEBI. For those of you who are still learning what SEBI is, it's an acronym for School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation. It is my pleasure to welcome back to our program again. He's family because this is about the fifth time he's coming on. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Ivelaw Griffith. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Delighted to be back. Yes, I'm family.
Yes. Great. He is accompanied this week by Ms. Diane Gobin. Diane Gobin is the Assistant Dean of the Social Sciences Faculty. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you. And Dr. Leland Lucas, who is a visiting professor of business and a member of, I was made to understand, a member of the SEBI feasibility study team.
Absolutely.
Yes. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Great to have all three of you. Let's first talk about progress. SEBI, I know it was one of your babies. The last time we spoke, you were so really adamant that this must be set up sooner or later. We must have this business school sooner or later. Let's talk about progress.
Babies have to be delivered. And we had the delivery yesterday with the council decision of what is not only an opportunity for programmatic innovation at the University of Guyana. It represents a paradigm shift in how we'll be able to deliver programs, not only degree programs, but short courses. It also represents a paradigm shift in the partnering we'll be able to do with businesses locally and abroad. And so I'm excited about the delivery of the baby, and we're here to talk about how we might enjoin Guyana writ large and people in the diaspora to be part of this exciting new enterprise. You know, part of what I did yesterday in introducing the topic at the council meeting, I pointed to something that was happening at the very time in Barbados. And that was a meeting also of the University of West Indies Governing Council. One of the items on their agenda was the adoption of a decision about who will become the new Chancellor of UE. First time ever UE decided that they needed a Chancellor who was a businessman. Mr. Robert Bermudez, distinguished Trinidadian businessman with extensive Caribbean economic investment. And what University of West Indies Governing Council and the governments that are part of UE decided is that governments can no longer do for the university what's needed. We've got to broaden the base.
It, bring in the private sector.
Bring in the private sector, be entrepreneurial. And so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's what we're doing with SEBI and other elements of the University of Guyana's renaissance.
All right. Before I hear more from you, Diane, how is this school going to add to the Faculty of Social Sciences?
Well, first of all, we're re-engineering some of our current programs. So in management, we have marketing, we have business management, we have accounting, we have banking and finance. But we're going to add more to those programs. We're bringing liberal arts aspect to those programs. So students will be exposed to courses across campus rather than just courses that are specific to that discipline. We're also adding elements such as experiential learning, where we're having these training being done online through simulation, through games and so on. And we're also sending them out to do practical elements, go at organizations, get experience. So all of that it's adding to these programs and it's bringing excitement. In addition to those existing programs which we're revamping, we're also bringing some new programs. So we're bringing finance, a degree in finance, we had accounting and finance, but we're bringing purely finance. We're bringing entrepreneurship, which is something new. Definitely in Guyana, very new. We're bringing supply chain management, we're bringing tourism and hospitality management, and some other new courses, which we're bringing short courses as well. And so those are the other things that this school is bringing. It's an exciting time for us.
Even though that field, I try to stay away from it. I want nothing to do with it. I think that is why I'm in a sense struggling with economics at the University of Guyana. But do you expect to get a flood, like a student flood taking over as this comes on stream?
But one of the very exciting things about this department is, now moving to the school, is that we've always had a stream of students who are coming to our management program, our accounting program, our banking and finance program, and our marketing program. we always were oversubscribed for those programs. So with additional courses now, more options for them to choose from, we expect that we'll have even more students coming to our program.
Okay, great. Dr. Lucas, I'd like to talk about, as you as a member of the feasibility study team, what are some of the things that you have discovered and your general role thus far in all of this, and are you encouraged by what you've seen?
First of all, let me say I'm not only a member of the team, but I'm also a proud Guyanese.
Oh, okay.
I got my start at UG, and I could not be where I am today if it were not for UG. So let me say thanks to UG. There are a number of things that we've discovered. We've discovered in speaking with the community that there is certainly a capabilities gap. That there are a number of things that this country needs that under current programs we are not capable of delivering. I also am inspired by President Granger's observation that entrepreneurship is the future of this country. And so when you take those issues into consideration, when you speak with business people and individuals in the public sector who are concerned about the gap in capabilities, you see the need to make certain changes. As the VC talks about it, a paradigm shift. And one of the things I and the team is most proud of is not just the manner in which we have attempted to marry the new offerings to the needs of the country, but also how we craft those options.
Okay.
For instance, individuals beginning these programs in September will find that they will have 2 years of strong courses in what we call foundation. English, mathematics. Not because you're studying business, it means that natural sciences is not relevant to you. The example I often use is that biology is a study of living organisms. If you provide the right combinations of nutrition, the body grows. If you don't, it dies. Well, businesses need the right kinds of nutrition. Businesses need the right combination of resources and capabilities in order to ensure that they exist by that well-known accounting principle of a going concern. And so we think that by exposing students to this broad range of courses which help to build their critical thinking skills, that moves away from what we call rote learning and forces them to question everything. It helps to develop their capabilities. It places the graduate in a very different light. It places the institution and the country in a very different light. The other thing that I'm very proud of is that we have emphasized that throughout this program, there must be internships. Internships of substance. So we're looking for our graduates from SEBI to leave the university with both a theoretical and a practical understanding of what it takes in the various fields. You refer to your experience with economics.
Experience.
Yes, my first degree at UG was in economics.
Oh wow!
And the things I normally tell people is yes, y equals c plus I plus g plus x minus m. There's some things in that relationship that no textbook can teach you, that you cannot learn in any classroom. They're very practical examples of you trying to understand how you can make changes, how you can get things done, even in the face of opposition, that no classroom experience can teach you. There are decisions and compromises that business people have to make, legal and ethical decisions and compromises that you cannot learn in the classroom. We are going to also incorporate a guest lecture series, which allows practicing business people, both successful and unsuccessful, to come in and speak with our students. Very often you find that people are sitting back and seeing a successful business person and assuming that, they did this, they did that, and they're successful, and I can be equally successful, if not more successful. But only by that interaction can you understand some of the struggles that those business people had to go through.
Let me pick up on a couple of things that both Dr. Lucas and Ms. Gobin said, one of which connects to that successful or unsuccessful business person. We're going to have those in the context of some visiting professorships. We're going to design some entrepreneurs in residence, business people to come in. But the reality is we would not be able to bring in as many businessmen and women as we would like.
As you would like.
And so case studies is going to be an important part of the curriculum. Capturing the cases of successful and unsuccessful small and not so small companies. Not only by written cases, but by video cases. Sit down with X and Y and Z businessmen and businesswomen or team and record their experiences. Use those recordings as part of the curriculum. But let me make one other point. When you ask Ms. Gobin about flood, yes, we expect a flood. Not necessarily this year, but we expect a flood in the sense that we are intentionally going to be looking beyond Guyana. I led a team to Grenada early this year, met with the Prime Minister, Minister of Education, Minister of Business. We're building a relationship. I sent Professor Mohammed and the registrar to St. Lucia and Antigua early this year. Same thing. So we expect the relationship between SEBI and UG generally and the flood to be not only people looking to do programs from within Guyana, which means we've got to extend the online platform to be able to deal with some of those issues.
A lot to digest indeed. Dr. Lucas also mentioned 2 years. This is the duration of the program?
No.
Or
let me clarify that. Part of what will become the reality, and we've set the implementation plan is going to be outlined soon. We're going to be taking some existing departments out of social sciences and fold them into SEBI. In other words, there's some students who are currently second year, third year, fourth year students. They will continue along their tracks. But their tracks are going to be existing with the new track of people coming in from this year. When those new people come in from this year, they will be on a 2 years first in general education, and then 2 years into your major. And that 2-year period of the general education, you do the English, you do the math, you do the biology, you do the chemistry. But here's something else we want our graduates from SEBI to have. 1 year at least of an additional language other than English. We'll be saying Mandarin, we'll be saying Spanish, we'll be saying Portuguese at the bare minimum, and then we'll be talking about what other language options for us to have. I'll be going to China in June, and one of the things I'll be doing there is talking about how we can extend our current Confucius Institute so that the offerings are extended to more than a handful of students right now. We've got to become a nation that allows our young and not so young business people to operate in a cultural sphere other than English, because a lot of the business opportunities are not done in English.
Exactly.
You've got to have a certain degree of familiarity with culture and language other than English.
And indeed, globalization is not going anywhere soon.
Absolutely.
I want to come back to Dr. Lucas, but before I do that, you talked about internship, and you moments ago talked about the realities of not necessarily getting the amount of business persons you may want to involved in the process. I know you probably can't give details at this time, but is there for want of a better word, a schedule whereby you will be liaising on with the private sector to be a part as it relates specifically to internship?
We have not begun intentionally to do that, but what we've begun to do is to embrace the private sector generally in investing in the School of Business and School of Entrepreneurship, Business Innovation, and in UG. I just had a meeting this morning with Mr. Richard Sammy from Republic Bank. He's the managing director here. Last week, we had a conversation with some other business people. So what we're doing is saying, here is an opportunity to build the partnerships. Some of the partnerships are going to be in how can you contribute financially. Some of the partnerships are in how can you invest in internships. Some of the partnerships are in how can you create job opportunities. I signed in 2 MOUs last night with Movie Town. Movie Town, those partnerships are about student housing, and then solar partnership along with opportunities for students to be employed in Movie Town when it starts later this year, as well as internships. So the opportunity is going to be multidimensional, and as we implement the plan for SEBI, we'll be focusing with more granularity on the specifics.
Dr. Lucas, I'm assuming you've been exposed to a lot of other business schools, business and entrepreneurship schools or institutions in other parts of the world. How great are the opportunities for our SEBI to eventually, or as soon as possible, be on par with those institutions in other parts of the world?
I think that should happen very shortly, in that the way we have crafted the curriculum, we have crafted them in keeping in mind what are the global trends. So the kinds of courses that we have developed, we have incorporated courses that are already being offered at UG, but we've also identified additional courses that we think students should be taking. In addition to which, from the time SEBI is established, we will be on a track for international accreditation. And that is extremely important. So our graduates will come out from UG with accredited degrees that are accredited internationally, and degrees that are of significant value, not only to the development of this nation, but also that are of value globally. I think in some respects we may even be moving beyond some of the ways in which some programs are offered. And so this whole idea, for instance, of involving very active learning approaches, this is something that is being embraced in the developed world, and we are bringing it to UG. The movement away from the traditional way of learning is extremely, extremely important to the success of SEBI, and by extension, the success of the University of Guyana. And so we see ourselves as being the forerunners of helping to transform the institution from where it is to where it needs to be.
There is a dimension there that I need to add, and that is, I'm very conscious, we have to be very conscious of some of our limitations. Funding limitations which necessitate building the partnerships with the business, which necessitates going to the government to ask for further investment. But here is an element that will help us to get there. We've got to build international relationships with academic institutions. If you take a look at the membership of the feasibility team, you will find not only a Dr. Lucas, who is a faculty of the Graduate School of Management in Ghana. You will find other distinguished academics who have led establishments of business schools, who have connections with institutions of repute that can leverage. A member of the team is the Deputy Director of the Mona Business School in Jamaica, and she'll be helping us to build partnerships with UE. I'll be sending a team, including Dr. Lucas, to Canada, University of Alberta Business School. We're developing a partnership. London, South Bank University. So part of our getting there is building connections to minimize some of our challenges and accentuate some of the opportunities that are there with people who've got experience. We're going to need to hire faculty, professors. We don't have all that we will need. We may need to build partnerships to get a visiting person to come from London or from Jamaica or from Canada for a semester to help us to get there.
All right, indeed a process. We're coming down to wrap up time for this conversation. The time has gone by today. But Diana, I want to ask you, is there, even though you talked about how the students at University of Guyana doing related programs and so on, how it would be linked to SEBI and so, is there any way that any of this would affect or interrupt the normal process for University of Guyana, especially come this September semester?
No, right now we're looking at the implementation stages, and we're looking at how to minimize those interruptions. So we're working with all the parties involved and trying to put in place our implementation plan. So once we have that, we hope that by September everything is just smooth flowing.
Great. Professor Griffith, how much are you going to, or have you thus far tapped into the government of Guyana for support in this, and of course by extension the Ministry of Education?
Part of what will enable SEBI to be successful is support for University of Guyana writ large. And I'll give you a recent example of that writ large support that will be leveraging for SEBI's benefit, among other entities. 2 weeks ago, I signed an MOU with Honorable Kathy Hughes on technology enhancements, not only at Turkine, but at Tain, at all the IDCs in Linden, in Anna Regina, in New Amsterdam. That's the kind of support which is not here is $1 million check, but it's providing the platform. I'll be talking to specific entities, government and non-government, about other specific areas of support. We want to be able to lift all boats at UG, not just the SEBI boat, and there is so much connectivity between what university writ large is all about and needs to be, and what SEBI is all about and needs to be, that the synergies cannot be forgotten.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. I hope we didn't miss anything, but Professor Griffith always knows where to find me if we've missed anything. Viewers, if you're now tuning into this conversation, unfortunately you missed a very informative one. It was about the SEBI, School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation. As usual, this conversation will be uploaded to YouTube and to my Facebook page. This is sometime during tomorrow. Of course, this is the season and the period of exams at University of Guyana, so I don't have the time for the rest of the day today to do it, so you can look forward to it being loaded to both the pages. Thank you so very much to Dr. Leland Lucas, Visiting Professor of Business, member of SEBI Feasibility Study Team, and he did pronounce a very, very proud Guyanese. And Dr. Lucas, we're proud of you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Ms. Diana Gobin. She's the Assistant Dean, Social Sciences Faculty at the University of Guyana, and of course our family now. I'm not sure if to call him Facing the Nation father or the uncle, but he is
uncle.
I
go with uncle.
The Vice Chancellor of the University of Guyana, Professor Ivelaw Griffith. And of course, unfortunately, this is where I have to take my leave from you this week on Facing the Nation. I'd like to remind you that Monday is a holiday. Of course, it's Labor Day 2017, and some of you use the holiday to do naughty things. Try not to do that this time. If you're going to party and have fun and you're going to drink, please do not drink and drive. Be very, very careful, as I urge you. Be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And of course, this has been Facing the Nation. Goodbye.